All right, here we go.
Welcome to Dolfan Radio, podcast of Miami Dolphin fans. And now for your host, Brad Michaels.
All right, good afternoon. Welcome to Dolfan Radio. Brad Michaels here with you. This is our second episode. We're actually very excited to be back on the air. It's been 13 seasons, so we're hoping now that the Dolphins actually have a great team to talk about and a lot of promising players on the roster, promising head coach in Brian Flores, that we're going to have a lot of years of success, and we'll be right here with you covering the Dolphins as that success plays out. Let's start out today. We're going to discuss the upcoming third pick, and there's a case being made right now for Florida tight end Kyle Pitts, and a lot of people are saying that the Dolphins should grab him at number 3. The Dolphins already have a pass-catching tight end in Mike Gesicki. They badly need receivers, so I can't see how they can justify Pitts ahead of either Jamar Chase or Heisman Trophy winner Devonta Smith from Alabama with that third pick. But there's a lot of NFL evaluators are making a very strong case for Pitts. Mel Kiper Jr., he has said on ESPN, he said, stop thinking of Pitts as just a tight end. He's in a different category than any player that he can remember, as according to Mel Kiper Jr. again. I'm not exactly sure where I stand on this. I understand that he can be a difference maker. Daniel Jeremiah from NFL Network says, I would take Pitts. I think it's a no-brainer. Also, we've talked about how high the ceiling is with him. I think he could emerge as the best tight end in the National Football League. He has that type of dynamic ability. Now that the Dolphins have addressed the wide receiver position in free agency by signing Will Fuller, who had 53 catches for 879 yards, 8 touchdowns in 11 games last season, Pitts is a pseudo wide receiver in many ways. So I don't know, should they consider him? I still think because we have Gesicki sitting there, I think we actually need to look at Jamar Chase or Devonta Smith, like I've said all along. But we're going to have to wait and see. I'm not the front office. I'm not Chris Grier. I'm not Brian Flores. I don't know what they're thinking about. There's also, according to Pro Football Focus, there's an analyst there that's saying that the Dolphins could be looking to actually draft a quarterback and trade Tua to another team. So we have to see how this plays out. Nobody at this point has ever been able to figure out what Chris Grier or Brian Flores are going to do. Almost every single one of their moves, albeit most have been brilliant, have been a surprise when they've come out. So that's something we're just going to have to wait and see. Now, the Fuller signing was liberating in the sense that the Dolphins are no longer necessarily compelled to take a wide receiver with that third pick, but I still think that they certainly should. But they're not going to leave themselves in a mess at receiver if they don't, because they now have 2 clearly above average receivers under contract in Devontae Parker and Fuller, and they got 6 decent ones behind that. You're talking about Preston Williams, Jakeem Grant, Albert Wilson, Alan Hearns, Lynn Bowden Jr., and Robert Foster. So I think we're covered at receiver, but you got to remember those other 6 that I just read off have a problem staying on the field, dropped passes, new guys, just people that have never really, for all the upside that Preston Williams has, he needs to be able to stay on the field. You're only as good as the number of games that you can play. Another veteran AFC front office executive said, I would take Pitts over a receiver at number 3. He's a special playmaker. He's tremendous in the red zone, and he is an offensive weapon. So there's some argument there, but I don't know. My take, as I've said, I just think we need more receiver help. I understand he's a pass-catching tight end. I get that, but we already have one. So what do we do with Gesicki at that point? He's proven himself. He's capable. Is he a difference maker? Not too sure on that yet. I think he can be. I think Tua needs more weapons. I've said that all along. He needs more weapons. He needs a number 1 receiver. Devontae Parker, bless his heart, he can't stay on the field either. So if you can't stay on the field, you're not my number 1. You're my WR2 at that point. So I'm looking for that guy that can be wide receiver 1. And I think that's Jamar Chase or Devonta Smith. All right, we got some free agency updates for you. The Dolphins formally signed 2 veteran linebackers on Monday, Brennan Scarlett and Duke Riley. Both of these players are versatile. Both of them are athletic, but they've shown flashes of really good football. And most importantly, both came at an affordable price. Scarlett, who joins Miami after spending his first 5 seasons with the Texans, signed a 1-year deal for $1.1 million. Riley, a 5th-year veteran who was last with the Eagles, he's agreed to a deal that's very similar. The market value suggests that both are just depth additions, and Pro Football Focus grades, both in the mid-50s last year, suggest that same thing. Neither has a ton of guaranteed money in their deals, so both are going to have to perform well in training camp and the preseason to assure a spot on the Dolphins' final 53-man roster. Considering the team's lack of depth, particularly at outside linebacker, they've got a good head start. Scarlett, he's more of a natural edge defender, while Riley is best in coverage. He surrendered just 2 touchdowns and 56 career targets. The Dolphins also re-signed run stopper Elandon Roberts. He's another former Patriot with experience in 2 Super Bowls. He was sidelined early last year on the Dolphins with a serious knee injury. The Dolphins are trying to get the best players on the roster, and wide receiver is a position of need. They added 2 more this week. Dolphins are continuing to revamp their wide receiver core. They announced the signing of 2 players. One that they're familiar with, that was Mac Hollins. He'll return to Miami after he tested the free agent market. And a short while ago, the Dolphins announced that Kai Locksley has been signed. Now, Hollins joined the Dolphins in 2019 after spending his first year and a half in the league with the Eagles. For the Dolphins, he has 176 yards and 16 receptions with 1 touchdown. Locksley is unique as he was the quarterback for UTEP. From 2018 to 2019, he had 20 starts at the position. He threw 9 touchdowns, but 14 interceptions. So he's going to transition to wide receiver for the Dolphins. That's according to Barry Jackson of the Miami Herald. We all remember another quarterback that transferred over and transitioned, I should say, to wide receiver, and he became pretty much an all-purpose player, and that was Jim Crash Jensen. So we'll see if Locksley can potentially build and come up to that level of expectation. Another unrestricted free agent is expected to leave the Dolphins this week. That is tackle Julian Davenport. He is expected to sign with the Colts. Now, with a team update, Tua has been busy in the offseason. Based on some Instagram footage, Tua has been throwing with receivers Wilson and Grant, and it was Grant that posted the video. So a lot of good things happening there. You remember last season, prior in the offseason, nobody could get together for any workouts unless it was an official team workout, and even those were restricted at some point because of COVID. With the COVID restrictions now being lifted, players are able to get together on their own and, play catch, work out a little bit, and get used to each other. I think that was one of the things, you're talking about a quarterback in Tua Tagovailoa that we all think has a very high ceiling, but I think we all were pleasantly surprised last year at how good he played, and then he had some games where he just didn't come with his A game. And I think a lot of that had to do with the pressures, the blitzes that were being thrown at him. Some teams figured out how to get to him and rattle his cage a little bit. That was evident, obviously, against Las Vegas when Ryan Fitzpatrick came in, and of course we know what happened in that game. It was also evident in the season-ending loss to the Buffalo Bills where he threw 4 interceptions, 5, I forget. So we see that he has the upside. And the thing is, again, and I've said this over and over again, that he needs to get that timing down with these receivers. He needs to get comfortable with them. It seemed that last year, the only receiver that he was really comfortable with was Devontae Parker when he was on the field. So another season or another offseason now that he actually finally gets a chance to work with his guys and get to know them and get that timing down. And if we add those weapons, Jamar Chase or Devonta Smith, in the draft at pick number 3, look out. I think at that point, you're going to see Tua put up some really nice numbers, and the Dolphins are going to be in great shape.
Thanks for watching or listening. And be sure to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, or YouTube. And for more great content, check us out on the web at www.dolfanradio.com.